Welcome to the 5G Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
All right. So before we actually start into the topics we wanted to, we were talking, just chatting.
We're chatting.
And we were like, you know what? I think we should probably just turn on the cameras. So we did our whole little oh, okay, what are we talking about today for this?
Check our agenda.
We were talking about you successfully losing a significant amount of weight.
Yeah.
And
I'm over 75 pounds now.
75 pounds? That's super crazy.
Yeah. And drop it.
But we were talking about how when I was trying to lose weight, and I wasn't doing any crazy diet, I was just trying to watch what I ate and stuff like that, right? And I was talking about how I made myself a little graph, and I was gamifying my life. And you brought up this book, and this was where we kind of left off.
Sure. Yeah, there's a book called Level Up Your Life. And the guy who wrote it, he's got a whole community. I think they're called Nerd Fitness.
Nerd
Fitness.
That's
yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so they got some stuff online and whatever. Like I said, whole community programs and all that. But the book is really cool. At least just the concepts. I'm never really been big into the community side of things.
Sure.
The social media, whatever. But it's really cool. That's one of the concepts he talks about is that even though it's designed for nerds or whatever, but in general you should gamify all aspects of your life. Like weight loss is a huge one, but the book in general is just about goal setting and life skills, and so yeah, it was gamify as many aspects of your life as you can, not to the point where it becomes a chore, but just so it becomes interesting and exciting. So that's why that reminded me of that, how you had your Excel spreadsheet every day, you were drawing trend lines and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's part of it. That's something simple you can do that gets you motivated.
Yeah, because I'm a super nerd. And when it comes, I guess, is nerd the right word? Geek? I don't know what it is, but whenever I want to do something, so for example, so I have a spreadsheet for basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one for my weight loss where I literally had the trend lines and I weighed in every single day.
Yep.
And I was tracking my weight daily and watching the trend lines and everything like that. And then I have for my gun projects, I have an Excel spreadsheet with the main sheet has the projects themselves listed out and what I need for them and the prices and websites attached to it and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then I have on different tabs at the bottom, just if I need this thing, go to these websites.
Cool.
This thing, these websites, this thing, these websites. And it's just kind of I make a spreadsheet for everything.
Dude, I wouldn't say that's a nerd. I'd say that's a wizard.
A wizard?
Yeah, because it's to anyone who doesn't know Excel, if you know a little bit of Excel, it's whoa. You're a wizard, man.
Yeah. Dude, VLOOKUPs. VLOOKUPs are the coolest thing.
I don't know what that is.
So this is way nerdy.
You have 4 Excel tabs open at once.
No, VLOOKUP is you have one tab that is you want to do something with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make a drop-down menu of a list, right? And that list is normally correlated with other parts of a list, right?
Yeah, okay.
So you have your database. So we do this a lot in construction, budgeting and things like that. And making bids, right? So it's this customer wants this, and this, and this. But it's instead of just looking at your list of stuff and trying to add it all up and remember, you have your front page of the Excel spreadsheet with the drop down menu for each individual thing. It's what level of finishes do you want in the house? Good, medium, poor, right? Whatever. And then on the second tab at the bottom, or whatever tab you want, you have your database, which just has everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And a VLOOKUP allows you to select one nominal value, and then it infills the rest of the stuff from your database.
Okay.
It's really cool.
But it's all the same Excel file.
Yeah. And you can do HLOOKUPs too, which are kind of, they're a little bit less useful in my opinion than VLOOKUPs, but yeah, they're super cool. Anyway.
It's wizard.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Level up your life. It's cool, man. You to the extreme I've seen of like do little quests each day, like. But then you make it all like as nerdy sounding as you want of like the wake up and go on an adventure. It's just like go to work. Like make sure you go to work. I don't know, dumb things
Grind
like that.
that XP.
Yeah. Oh, good, you hit level 5 today. Woohoo.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. So it's things like make your bed and eat breakfast. Just like you can really minimize it if there's any goal that you're struggling with.
Yeah. One thing that I've seen that's really cool, and I've thought about doing it, is like people who struggle to like a lot of people in our situations who are, kind of nerdier,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 75% of us struggle to go to the gym and work out because we're like, I would rather just play Magic the Gathering or like deck build or play video games or read a book, right?
Something. I mean, you don't get like enjoyment, I'll say, from going to the gym generally.
One thing that I've seen a bunch of people online do is they'll be like, okay, so I love like these guys, for example, will love Warhammer 40K or something like that, and they will literally craft or find a workout regime that turns them into a space marine.
Yeah, exactly.
And so instead of like just doing like bench press and squats and stuff like that, they're like throwing on like weight vests on.
Yeah, that's
and, like,
sick.
Carrying like a bag in their hands to mimic a gun or whatever, and it's like
that's pretty cool.
There's one guy online.
I think I've seen this guy. Yeah.
Well, he like pretends he's a space marine, and so he gets on the treadmill with a weight vest on and has a 45-pound bar and raises and lowers it like a gun,
nice,
like an hour a day or something stupid like that. There's another guy that I've seen who he's super into an anime.
Oh, okay.
And
probably One Punch Man. That's a famous one.
No.
Oh,
it's a guy with a big sword.
Oh, okay. It's probably a Berserk. I'm gonna say,
yeah,
like big old two-handed sword.
Yeah. That's the angled blade.
Does he do one hand with it?
Two.
Okay. Well, maybe not Berserk then.
So he made this sword. It's out of steel, and he just swings it around every day.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm swinging this sword until I can swing it like the anime character.
Like, that's
and
pretty sick.
It's like huge.
It's ginormous. Yeah,
like 5 feet long, huge sword.
It's like steel.
Yeah,
it's a real sword.
It's like 25 pounds, but leverage and making it. You move a lot of the weight up to the front, and it's like 25 pounds is like. I feel like right here, 25 pounds is nothing. Here, 25 pounds is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. They say in D&D, they say, like, a longsword is 8 pounds. I'm like, an 8-pound longsword? You're going to break your arm. Like,
yeah, for real.
That's so unrealistic. Like, maybe 3 pounds. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so, I've thought about doing that type of stuff.
Probably one of the times in my life I've been to the gym pretty seriously was with a buddy of mine, the Colin's older brother, Hunter. We did superhero workouts, which was cool. So it was those, it was like Monday was chest day, and it was like Superman, and then like Tuesday was back day. It was Batman. Yeah, Batman. So this is cool things like that.
There's I've told Ryan about this. There's a shooting competition / event called Finish Brutality. And it's like one of the, in my opinion, the coolest shooting competitions ever. And it just looks torturous.
Oh, geez.
It looks like so much fun, though.
Is it like a physical competition thrown in with guns? Or is it, okay.
Yeah. So, like, you have like the shooting stages, which are obviously like time and, accuracy.
Measured for accuracy, yep.
Well, not necessarily accuracy, but like you have to hit the targets, right?
Yeah.
Steel silhouettes. If you hit those, you're fine. But then intermixed within like one stage, for example, we'll have 5 silhouette targets, and you have to move around to do that. Okay. Not a big deal, right? That's most dynamic shooting competitions. But in some of them, maybe like in that same one, instead of just like moving like from spot to spot to spot, maybe like to get from one spot to the other, you have to hop over a wall. And then maybe another one, you have to duck under a wall, and then you have to crawl through barbed wire, and then you have to jump into a hole, and then you have to jump out, and like...
That's cool.
But it's still timed.
Yep.
So
I've always enjoyed, similar to that. I mean, the Olympics events, what is it, the biathlon? Yeah, when they're skiing in the Winter Olympics, and then you have to shoot, like, it's harder than it looks because you just
Your
think
breath
like,
is going.
yeah, you're like, and you're trying to like get your sights on the target. Like that's a skill. That's
Well,
cool.
and the targets are tiny.
They are tiny, yeah.
Like you don't think about it. It's like you like because they have like the camera like way
Yeah.
closer. Like the
Well, and
target,
they
like,
ski
this
up
big.
and they make it look easy. They're like pew 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 pew. You got to do 5 shots, and then they can just get up and start skiing away. And it's
Yeah.
like, but they've trained so well.
It's crazy.
I
It's
don't know.
crazy. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's like the lung strength or something.
Yeah. I Anyway, that was our introduction topic.
Yes, for your goals,
Yeah. Yeah.
get them done.
So and on this Finnish brutality match, I really want to go to it, but I'm fat.
I'm good at the shooting part.
And not compared to these guys.
Oh yeah,
I would
sure.
really
Okay.
have to practice. Like I'd have to like really figure out how to do it. Like I can shoot really well, but what these guys do, and especially with like the exercise involved, I've never really shot
Wow.
while tired,
Yeah.
where my muscles are like betraying me. You know, like these guys are like doing 2 minutes of wrestling and then shooting. It's like
Yeah, I wonder how many of
whoa.
them are just like ex-Navy SEAls or something. Because
None.
it's none really. Okay.
Well, there's a couple
Ex-Marines.
ex-military, a couple of like there's like
Because like I imagine that's got to be pretty good practice.
Oh, for
like
sure.
military drills. That sounds.
But a lot of the guys, like a bunch of the popular gun YouTubers go. And
dang.
like one of them is an ex-cop. One of them is, I mean, some of them are like a couple of them are ex-military.
Yeah,
But
but
most of them are like just gun guys.
just enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but
Cool.
it looks insane, and I really want to go. So I've thought about making like a YouTube channel where every day I upload my workout prepping for Finnish brutality. or something like
Progress.
that.
Yeah.
And some days I'll just like throw on a weight vest and because they also have different divisions that you can compete in.
Oh,
So
okay.
they have an overall winner, right? Which is just
Mhm.
everyone. How well did you do?
Yeah.
And then they have different divisions you can compete in, and always they have like the hardest version, which is armored plus something else.
Oh, geez.
And so they have the armored division, which you're in like a full kit, like
That's cool.
armor plates, helmet,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I believe just the plates is like 55 pounds, if I've heard, if I recall.
I don't
Like,
think it's quite that heavy.
Oh, okay, okay.
Each plate is probably 5 pounds of steel,
gotcha.
maybe a little bit more, depending on what plates you're running as well. Maybe you're running ceramics.
Yeah. I think that's what the Marines wear. If
Yeah.
That's where I recall that number. But yeah.
Well, plus all your kit and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, you got
plus
extra
the gun,
mags.
and you have to wear for every thing. You have to keep your gun on you at all times,
I bet. Yeah.
and all like. But so they have armored, but then they also have armored plus something else.
Modifiers? What is this, a video
They
game?
have modifiers, and so you can win in your division, but then you can also win the modified division as well.
Oh, cool.
And obviously, like the modified division is just like insanity. So like this last year they did breacher division.
Ooh.
So previously they did recon division. So you had to be armored,
Mhm.
but then in between every single stage, you had to go run like 3 kilometers.
Oh my goodness.
And there's like it's 2 days of competition.
Yeah.
And there's like 6 stages a day. So they're running like almost 20 kilometers,
Jeez.
which is like 10 miles, and then sprinting on the stages and
Mhm.
stuff like that to try and get a good time, and throwing sandbags and throwing, dragging body bags and things
Yeah,
like
crawling
that.
and just
Exactly. It's like what the heck. So this year they did breacher, and there was no running, but you just had to be a man.
you gotta swing a hammer around
So
in between.
one of their in between things was, all right, you have 4 minutes or 3 minutes. Who can hit this tire with the sledgehammer the furthest?
Oh my goodness. So you just
So you're just sitting there against this monster tire.
Jeez.
And then one of them was, all right, you have 3 minutes. Start doing push-ups. And it was just, how many push-ups can you do?
Can't wait for the Scotsman modifier where it's just like caber toss for 3 minutes. Just
Yeah.
that'd be sick.
Yeah, and so like one of
Whatever the other one is, where you got to throw the like sandbag
Oh,
up
yeah.
like 20 feet in the air or whatever.
What is that called? It's yeah.
Yeah,
I know you're talking
they
about.
got some crazy games.
But they do it in Finland, and it
Mhm.
just looks like a freaking blast the entire time.
Yeah, that does. Like, if you're not, I mean, you're gonna be dead. But if you're not like extremely unfit, I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, and also
it's an
like,
experience.
because of egos, all of the gun YouTubers do like the harder divisions, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
And they're getting content out of it, so
Mhm.
that's nice.
and they're all friends, and so they're like competing against each other, like like.
That's cool.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, like let's go, like everyone's like cheering. It's a really cool looking environment.
Everybody's pushing each other up.
But anyway, it just looks like a blast.
That's cool.
And so I've been theory crafting.
Goals.
I've been theory crafting like what my workouts would be for that, but also like after seeing a couple of years of the stages and things like that, what gun I would like, what guns I would want to take, right? Because that's
also important.
It's
Yeah,
important because
that's the technical side.
You
of
want
it.
like lightness, and so maybe I'll go 223 like AR-15. But also there are some things where you have to like hit a target until it turns over, like spins itself.
Oh,
and so you're like, maybe a 308 would be good for that, because some of the guys who run 308s, and 308s, you don't have to calculate ballistic stuff as much. You just kind of hold center and throw a big old chunky
big
round
enough bullet,
there. And then like the spinners, it's like 2 hits and it's like doom, doom. And so I've been thinking like, but they're also way heavier, right?
Yeah,
the ammo's heavier, you have less ammo per magazine, like all this stuff. So it's like
so much to consider. Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, and like there's dirt and mud and stuff like that, and so like you want to make sure your gun is reliable. So it's like,
oh yeah, do I bring an AK?
Do you run AR platform or AK platform, or maybe some more non-traditional platform like a H&K G3 or something like that,
Right.
Anyway, now I'm way off into the weeds.
That's funny.
Way off into the weeds.
Moving on to the next topic here. What should we do first? Got lots to talk about.
We do. Do you want to talk about Starfield?
Yeah, sure. I'll give some Starfield updates. I think so. Initially, I was pretty negative on the game, so I was sloping down, and then I started to slope up a little bit. Like I think we recorded that. Like, oh, okay, it's not so bad.
At hour 12.
I'm back on the downslope.
No.
I'm back on the downslope, but only because and this is again maybe more of a personal issue, but because my game crashes anytime I go to a hub world. Just because I don't know, the hub worlds are too big and my video card can't handle that or something. So I can't get any quests. I've started, as I told you, I've been enjoying it, just going off into space and doing my own thing. Just like, oh, you can build bases, explore planets, and there's random little side quests, and there's like pirates to fight or whatever. I've started like recycling content just out in the world or universe. To the point where it's like, okay, I've seen this same pirate base like 3 times. I've done the same dinky little side quest for these colony people like 4 times. I've seen the same planet a couple times, or the same animals pop up. And I'm just like, like the universe is vast and infinite, but really it's just every time you land on a planet, you get a generated seed of like an area with locations and animals and whatnot. And if you just like lift off and go land on another side of the planet, you just get another randomly generated seed. So it's like the animals and the environment stays the same, but even different planets will have like, oh, you're at the North Pole, you're in the ice biome, you're in the forest, you're in the mountains, whatever. So really it's just like, yeah, the animals stay the same, but every time you land, it's just another randomly generated seed. So you can go to different planets to at least get different biomes and different animals, but you still might randomly be like, oh yeah, here's this cave that's a pirate hideout. I've seen the same cave layout so many times. Oh, this time it just has animals instead of pirates. I'm like, yeah, okay. Ooh. So yeah, I'm already hitting the end of the randomly generated content. Where I've been slowing down because it's like I need quests. I need more of an objective at this point.
Sure.
So it just as far as the advertisement of like, oh, the universe is so big, you can go do whatever you want. Not really. I saw an interesting I think it was a YouTube short or whatever this week. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on. And I didn't double check this again. It was some random guy on YouTube, but should have checked his sources. But he said that in general, there's a rule, quote unquote, for video game developing, is that on your open world map, open world video games, there should be an average of 40 seconds in between your points of interest. So it's like if you take one point of interest and like draw a circle around it or whatever, that distance, that travel time should be about 40 seconds between like the next point of interest in a big open world. Otherwise, like, players just get bored or whatever. Then you have a big open world but nothing to do. And so he drew a map of The Witcher 3, for example, and he was just like, yeah, between these points, he timed it himself. He's like, yeah, it's roughly 40 seconds. So the only source I didn't check is like if that's an actual video game developer rule. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I played The Witcher 3. I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. Like it's a pretty good size open world. And then even like when you get to towns, I mean, there's a bunch to do. And so he compared it to Starfield. And again, it's not the hub worlds, but the randomly generated worlds, the infinite universe. In any one of those seeds, when you land on a planet, it's 4 to 5 minutes between points of interest. So again, there's like, if
it's like a 10 times multiple,
yeah,
or more, yeah.
If you're lucky, those planets will have like random animals on it, but not every planet has animals, or maybe you're on a moon. And so it's like, there's some combat in between your points of interest for every 4 to 5 minutes. But really, it's like, yeah, you got to go to this base, and then this cave, and then this whatever, probably another base, a little science outpost. It's 4 to 5 minutes in between each thing of just walking.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like,
that's interesting.
That is kind of what I felt. I've tried to make my build like as fast as possible, where I just up my stamina just so I can sprint. I'm always sprinting in the game, actually, but even still, it's like I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't. You don't play a whole lot of open world games anyway.
I'm trying to think of ones that I do play.
We played New World, which was an open world RPG.
Yeah. Well,
like
MMO,
yeah.
Survival crafting. Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of Valheim.
Valheim, yes, yeah.
Yeah, New World, but New World also had like there was stuff to do along the way, and so it didn't feel like
there's lots of little quests and events and stuff.
And like you would like be walking around, and there'd be like a bear, just like it's right there, and you're like, oh, bear. Let me try to kill the bear.
Yeah, you'd be like, all of a sudden, like.
Well, and also you have to grind on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you like on your way there, you're like, I'm gonna chop some trees, and so maybe it does take you 5 minutes to get from point A to point B, but you've chopped trees the entire time
because it's like that you wanted trees, for crafting or whatever.
Yeah.
To like devil's advocate, but not really. Starfield, like, it has resources that you can gather. But there's so many resources, dude, that I couldn't even tell you what I need Dystrium for. Or helium. Actually, I do know what you need helium-3 for, but just random vanadium. I'm like, am I ever going to need this vanadium? I don't know, but the game tells me it's rare, so I better mine it all.
Yeah.
And then chuck it in my spaceship. Like,
interesting. It kind of goes back to our conversation episode 3.
Like a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. Which, don't watch that episode.
No.
You should only ever go back and watch episode 11 and up. When they start sounding halfway.
That's when they get good.
But we were talking about like the death, quote unquote, of open world games.
Yeah.
And how, in my opinion, we've gotten too many of these quote unquote open world games that are open world, but full of a bunch of nothing.
Yep.
And it's like, I think if you shrunk your open world and put everything either closer or more streamlined or whatever, the game would be much more successful.
It's really interesting, because again, in that episode, going back to it, but I've had a couple new experiences since then. People still seem to think that it's like my game is linear or my game is open world. There's no crossover. There's no go between. When in reality, some of the funnest games I've played are a cross. They are a go between. I think about a game like Dark Souls. And Dark Souls 1 was probably the best example of this. It is like, for all intents and purposes, a single player linear game, but the the linear levels are all like interconnected, where it feels like this. It feels like a real big open world because it's like you're going through in one area, and then if you just take like a side path, a shortcut, you end up in an area that's actually like 3 levels ahead of where you're supposed to be or whatever, but you end up in this random side door. You're like, wait, what? And you can just go there and do that if you want. So it feels like an interconnected world, and it's really interesting. And that's lately Baldur's Gate 3 has also been doing that. Like you'll get this big overworld map, but then there's like there is a linear path that the main quest sort of guides you on, but then there's so many different paths to take. Like, and even on that map, there's a lot of different things to do, but then maybe you'll end up on another map and you're like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. You play through the game a second time and you'll end up on a different map and you're like, I didn't even know this one existed. Mm-hmm. And so it's like having a crossover feels, I don't know, more exciting.
Yeah.
As a gamer.
I don't know. It's very interesting. Just because I think that developers probably are all like, "Oh, we need to make an open world game because that's where everything's going." And it's like, I think they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're wrong. I think that competitive games like CS2, are still extremely viable.
Oh yeah.
And I think linear games like Halo 1 or Halo 2 or Halo Reach or whatever one you want to call are all, except for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, except for Halo Infinite, yeah.
But I think those are all still extremely viable options, you know? And
I would agree. Or
even mission-based games like Payday 2.
Yeah. Armored Core 6 also just came out. That's all mission-based, yeah.
Where it's like, you have to go through each mission. Yeah.
So it's linear, but then like each mission has a lot to do.
Crap, what's the name of the game? Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2.
Yeah. Again, mission-based, it's linear.
But each map, each mission set, so I really love that game, by the way. If you haven't played it, it's super worth the money. It's single player, offline. You don't have to have any internet.
Nice.
And the gun, it's a fantastic game.
It's always nice to see.
It's such a good game. And the missions are completely different from one another. Like, cool. And they give you loadout options so you can take like a super long range sniper rifle when you need like a long range sniper rifle. But if you really want to, you can also take the short range sniper rifle on the long range mission. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like your bullet takes like 4 hours to like.
But you made your choice.
Yeah, it's really cool. But to get to the long range sniping part of that mission, there are close combat enemies, and so you can't just you don't have a sniper all the time. You have like your pistol or your assault rifle, and you can modify them and blah 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 blah. And you can choose your like auxiliary equipments and things like that, utilities.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different paths to achieve the same linear goal.
And so they'll have a mission set, like you'll load into this map, right? And there's 4 missions in the map, but they're not linearly done. Like you can do them in any order that you want.
Cool.
And it affects what happens at the other ones depending on which order you do it in. So there's like an order, and like sometimes there's just like these random places where you're like, why are there enemies here? There's like no mission here. There's just a gazillion enemies, and you're like, how am I supposed to sneak through this thing?
What's going on? Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, the mission area is over there. I walk. It's like, there's enemies everywhere. It's a really well-made game.
Things to do.
It's a really well-made game. And, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either go just in like, all right, well, I'm armored up to the max, and I'm just going to go in guns a-blazing.
Did this game have sniper in the title? Nah, I don't think so.
It's a fun way to play.
I'm playing Call of Duty.
Because they have this, they have this sniper rifle that's integrally suppressed. But it's semi-automatic as well. It's basically a VSS.
Yeah.
And it's a short-range one because it's like the quietest gun in the game, I think. And you can mount a red dot to the side of it. And so you just have this assault rifle,
You're
basically.
you're just stealth, like tac ops at that point. Just
Yeah. And so, and you're an advanced solo sniper, and so they give you like some cool tech that like doesn't really exist. Like you have infrared in your
sure.
helmet, and like you can like scan the terrain like in a 20-meter radius or whatever.
Oh well, yeah, that's handy for
Yeah.
video game purposes. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly. But they also give you like some like a remote turret that you can use your binoculars to like just take people out with,
That's cool.
and like you can set it up somewhere and then like walk to a different side of the map and then like shoot people,
Mm-hmm.
and then the people will run towards the sniper turret because they think someone's shooting them from over there.
Nice,
And then
nice.
you can do whatever you need to do, disable a tower or whatever.
That's fun. That's fun.
No, great game. And so I think games like that definitely have, because it still feels open world because you can move around in that map
Yeah.
however you want. And then their challenges are also like,
Yeah, as far as the achievement hunting, I know you
Yeah.
told me that is
I've
like,
been working on that, and
it's really
rough.
solid.
I mean, there are like they have like different tier achievements, and even in the game, the achievements
Yeah,
are
nice.
like there's easy ones, but like still take some time and like some doing,
Mhm.
right? And then there's like ones where it's like, geez, man, this is so difficult.
We've talked about that before. Like that's a huge portion of gamers, but also people in general. I mean, you love seeing the dopamine hit when you achieve something.
Mhm.
Taking it back to our first topic, you got to have like quests, you got to have goals in your life, gamify your life. But even in video games, it's like, oh, I did something. And on Steam, especially, it's like 2.1% of players have achieved this. You're like,
Dude.
damn, I feel pretty cool.
Yeah,
You gotta have those little pop-ups. We've talked about games that haven't had that. That's a huge complaint. Like, um, I ran out of achievements on Remnant 2.
oh really?
Yeah, so it's I 100%ed that game. I don't think they had hard enough achievements. Like I haven't even beat the game on the hardest difficulty, but I already got all
Oh,
the
that's not an
achievements.
achievement even.
It's not an
Really?
achievement. If you beat the game on the hardest difficulty, I think you get a cool gun or whatever. But like I still love the game. If anybody wanted to play co-op with me, I'd still hop on and play it in a heartbeat. But as far as playing by myself, it's like I don't have as much motivation anymore.
Sure.
You know, I do want to beat it on the hardest difficulty,
Sure.
but yeah. So yeah, you gotta have little achievements, little dopamine hits.
Yeah, I've been grinding away at Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. I'm gonna call it the Sniper game from now on.
The sniper game,
Because
trademarked.
That's just such a long name.
Yeah.
That's one thing that company just needs to figure out is the naming of their game.
Are they European or something? Or
I
is
have
that
no clue.
is that a poor translation?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
because- I don't think so.
Sniper Ghost Warrior Elite Contract 2.
Sniper Ghost Warrior I don't know. Anyway,
Sniper game. Sniper game good.
Sniper game good.
Good. I like sniper.
But there's one achievement that I've been trying to do, and it's beat the entire level, not just like the missions in the level, but the
Mhm.
entire level using only the sniper rifle.
Oh, okay.
So you can't use your pistol. You
None of the
can't-
close combat.
You
Yeah.
can't use your melee. You can't use anything.
Wow.
And so it's like, frick, man.
Do you have like a bash, the stock of the sniper at least?
Nope.
No, yeah. It's
Nope.
just have
The
to
melee in
keep
the game, I mean, it's a shooting game, right? The melee
Yeah.
is very mediocre.
Sure, it's not designed to be.
But it's also kind of like fun. And also, one of my favorite utilities is the throwing knives. Because they're super close range,
Quick, I bet.
super quick, and so you can like take out two enemies in real quick succession, like from like really close,
Nice.
and it makes the sound signature is 0, right? And so it's like if you're inside of a building, you just like they just like drop and
That's
nobody
nice.
hears them. So it's really nice. The melee is silent technically if you're gonna melee them, but shooting obviously is not.
Yeah.
Even with the suppressors, which I really enjoyed, that they still, if like you're close to an enemy and you shoot, even if it's a suppressed gun, they will
Mhm.
hear it,
Nice.
which is super nice because that's what it's like in real life.
Exactly.
But then
exactly.
if you're like freaking really far away, they won't hear anything with
Dang.
the suppressor on it.
Random tidbit from last week. I think I remembered after we recorded Payday 3, they took away the melee weapons. I don't know if we said that last week.
What?
Yeah, the melee weapons were so much fun in that game. Because they were so like customizable. I mean, they technically had different stats, but there were no real like melee builds, so it was kind of just for fun.
No, I mean, yeah, I remember having like the butterfly knife,
Yeah.
or the baseball bat with the barbed wire on it, or whatever, the machete,
or the wad of cash.
yeah,
You
that's
just
right.
slap people with money. Like it was so fun. There was one that was like a Persian shiv or whatever. It was like a
Yeah.
toothbrush that they'd sharpen the end of. Like,
And they just took it out.
yeah, there's no melee weapons in the game.
Why?
Yeah, I'm not saying your game, like the sniper game, you don't need like a complex melee system, but it's like, come on, melee weapons, they're fun. Let people bring a samurai sword, all right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
For sure.
let me live out the fantasy of having
I mean,
a
at
cool
least I
melee
can
weapon.
melee if I want to in this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're just like beating with the gun, I guess. It's cool, but
I'd rather have a katana.
yeah, exactly. Pull out a big old like Bowie knife or something.
Yeah, for real. Or shuriken or something.
Yeah. A tomahawk. Yeah.
That sucks. We'll continue on the video game topic for a
Yes.
second.
Yes, please tell me. You had a minor segue you mentioned.
I did.
Little.
CS2
Did you hear that?
finally released this week.
Counter-Strike 2.
Counter-Strike 2.
Elite Ghost
I think it
Warrior.
came out on
No.
I think it came out on Wednesday.
Dude, it was like a stealthy release.
They didn't tell anyone.
They didn't tell it.
I found out about it 2 days
I
later.
was reading Google suggested articles on Thursday, and it was some random thing like, yeah, so in Counter-Strike 2, boop-a-doo, and I was like, wait, what? I had to like Google it again. I was like, is Counter-Strike 2 out, or is this some dumb
it
early
released,
access?
Like 26th or 27th.
It's like it released the day before.
Well, what's nice though is that everyone who has CS:GO, you just update your game.
You update the game, yeah. You get it for free.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, cool.
And what's cool is that there's only one achievement right now in CS2,
No way.
and it's you played the game as a CS:GO player.
Oh, nice.
And so they call
100% of the game
it
already.
they call it CS New or something like that as the achievement name.
Nice.
And
Nice.
They give you it's kind of cool. They did really well on their like release, like when you update it, because they give you a little coin that says it's like a CS:GO loyalty badge or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
cool.
It's like one of the coins you can display, and so like new players won't have that because CS:GO you can't play it anymore.
Yeah, it's
right. And so it's kind of nice just to have like a little treat.
sure.
But
Counter-Strike 2. Tell me about it. You said you played some.
I was playing it last night, and I played a good amount of it last night.
I've been playing since this morning or whatever. Yeah.
No, I played. I mean, not good. I played a couple hours,
Mm-hmm.
and took a little bit of getting used to.
I bet it
with
feels a
the
little
whole
different.
Inventory system is I had to Google how to do something because they don't tell you.
Oh yeah, that's
It was
true.
a little
Actually.
frustrating because like they give you've always been able to change your loadout in
Mm-hmm.
CS:GO, but you could only have one. Like they had the AR like the M4 class, and you
Yeah.
can only have the M4 A4, which was the unsuppressed 30 round mag, or you could have the M4 A1S, which was the suppressed 20 round
20,
mag
yeah.
assault rifle for the CT side.
And that was your only like loadout.
Yeah, you can only have one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And now they changed that so you can have both of those in your loadout, but you only get 5 options for rifles.
Oh, okay.
And so you can't have the SCAR and the OP and the Scout and the M4 and everything else.
Dang, they lumped all rifles together.
You know,
Yeah,
all rifles together. And so some people are getting rid of and so I was just trying to figure out how to change the guns because they don't tell like
you just have the default.
well
whatever.
you can see all the guns that you're allowed to put in those categories, but they don't tell you how to put them into the categories.
Oh,
And
interesting.
you can't just like click on them and like just put like replace this gun with this, right?
It's kind of a weird case because it's a
You have to like
it's a new game, so they should have a tutorial, but also like it's still Counter-Strike. So,
well yeah, they
yeah.
just needed like a UI tutorial.
Just a little UI. Yeah.
Because I had to like Google that. I'm like, how do I switch weapons?
Maybe like a pop-up when you load the game for the first time, be like, welcome to Counter-Strike 2,
Or, like,
here's some
go in-
changes.
Yeah. Or like go into the go into your loadout section or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Let's go over some menu options, yeah.
But it looks really good.
Cool.
It looks really good.
I just saw a little bit of gameplay video, but I haven't played it yet, so.
But what's nice now is that you can organize your loadout and it's going to be so much quicker because you can organize how guns pop up in your loadout. And so it's not just like, oh, I want to have the M4A1S, and it just plugs it into an automatic spot, right?
Okay.
Like, no, you can order it so it's at the top of your little loadout chart all the time.
Gotcha.
And so if
favorite gun. I always want this one.
So, for example, I got rid of the XM shotgun,
Oh, yeah.
which is like their Benelli equivalent of their Benelli or whatever.
I like Benelli's in real life. In the game, it's trash.
And I replaced it with one of the I think I replaced it with like the MP5 or something like that.
Sure.
And now you can have the MP5 and the MP7. And you should only be able to have one or the other.
Oh yeah.
And so it's pretty cool.
I know what I'm doing. I'm taking both of those.
So I did. And then so I replaced, I replaced one of the Mac like handguns or whatever with like the PP Bison because I love the PP Bison even though it sucks.
I was about to say it's
one of the worst guns of the game.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. It has 64 rounds of ammunition. You just go around corners. You just
spray and
you're
pray.
like, oh yeah, I'm pre-firing. Yeah, like 4 seconds of pre-fire and just like it's so much fun.
That's nice.
I do have a couple of gripes.
Okay.
Well,
but tell me, does the smoke look as good as they advertise? The smoke grenades?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, the smoke and fire both look sick.
All right, so we're on a high point. You can give me a little gripe. Yeah.
One thing that I've seen online, I haven't experienced this yet because I haven't.
Hackers.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, kind of.
Oh,
not really. It's they didn't do the lighting right with the smokes.
Weird.
And so if there's like in some of the maps there's like construction lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those actually cast shadows of the players, and they have for forever, right? Even in CS:GO.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you'd think a smoke would block the light.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke doesn't block the light.
Sad.
Which in turn doesn't block the shadow.
Yeah.
And so someone could be standing in a smoke,
but you can still see the shadows.
You can still see their shadows. So you're just like.
Let me do a quick little trig problem here, and then,
it's like what's the meme like that?
Oh yeah, doing calculations. Yeah. Like, I think if I shoot right here, I'll kill someone.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, so
and
the smokes look good, but don't hide in them yet.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think they'll probably just hotfix it.
That seems like from my brief amount of video game developing knowledge, took a class in college. It seems pretty easy. They just forgot to have the smoke interact with light.
Yeah,
I mean it'll be a quick hotfix.
I just thought it was funny. It's not like the biggest deal, but especially for like low level.
That is funny though. Like if you see that in real life, you'd be like, glitch in the Matrix. Like what?
Yeah, for sure. So there's that. Then a lot of people online have been complaining about the new tick rates, the tick system.
Huh.
So it used to be it's a 64 tick game still.
Yeah.
But they have sub ticks now, and so the game, instead of like matching every action on a tick line, it matches it. It records when something was input if it's in between ticks, and then has that happen on the tick
the next tick. Yeah.
And so people have been showing like, oh yeah, like they've been doing this test where you like sweep your gun and then shoot, and the bullet. Your gun will be over here when the animation goes off, but the bullet will have shot over here.
Weird.
Because the input for the shot was over here, but the animation comes on the ticks.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
And so
it seems like a minuscule issue, but for a competitive shooting game, when everybody's got different like lag, different input, like that's really important.
People have noticed it mostly when they're flick-opping. Like flicking over to an enemy with an op.
Yeah, and they turn their mouse sensitivity all the way up so they can just.
Yeah. And like bullets are just going
just flying off into space.
And everyone's like, pretty sure my crosshair was on that guy's face.
Yeah.
Like, it's been interesting.
The 360 no scope. You gotta be quick.
I don't.
Huh.
It's been interesting to like trying to figure out. I haven't. One thing that
hopefully they haven't to figure that out before competitive events, like before money's on the line.
Hopefully
for people.
And I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think people just have to unlearn the tick rate stuff from CS.
Yes, they just have to adjust. Yeah,
because people have been like dealing with that bullcrap for a while.
Yeah, and it's not game breaking.
No. I think it's going to be better. But one thing that I don't love that they changed is that
you can't teabag. No, sorry, go on.
You definitely can, and now you have legs.
Excellent. You can look down to see your legs. You can
see yourself squatting over someone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an improvement.
Did you know that you get banned from pro play if you teabag someone?
Really?
In like a competition?
Is that like a Twitch rule, or that's like
No.
a Counter-Strike rule?
That's like a Valve rule.
Wow. Come on. I mean, that's
Only if it's in like a competition.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
just playing the game and you do it, they're not like watching every pro
Yeah.
player. But if you're in a competition and
In
you
a
teabag
competition.
an enemy, yeah,
That's like unsportsmanlike conduct
yeah,
or something.
something.
I mean, is Trevor's thoughts? I mean, sometimes you just got to teabag, you know?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like they might have changed the spray patterns of the guns
Oh, okay.
and how they work, because there have been many instances where I should have been. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is where my hold is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
Are you telling me the AK doesn't like magnetize to the heads anymore?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I like CT more.
Yeah, sure. So you're never using the AK?
Not normally, unless I steal one from.
Yeah.
Because I also like to play with the Nova shotgun
Ah, yeah.
because I'm retarded.
It's a slightly better shotgun than the other one we mentioned.
No, it's objectively worse.
Slightly, yeah, no.
It's like objectively the worst gun in the game.
Yeah, there's the PP Bison and then the Nova. And those are Steven's favorite guns.
And the Negev.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the Negev is down there somewhere.
Dude, Negev secretly OP.
Did they change the spray pattern on that one?
Oh, I haven't checked that. Oh, I'm gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
so devastated if they made it, if they nerfed it.
Yeah.
Nerfed.
It was already terrible.
Because it used to be like, oh yeah, you like start firing and then like your fourth bullet, it just like lasers up to this corner, but then it's like a laser beam and you just like pull down your screen, right?
If you know that it's going to laser
And
beam that way.
like they're tracers more or less, and so you just have this like 100 rounds of just tracers, and it's just like this line of like death. It's a great gun.
Yeah.
It's a great gun.
It's really not.
It's so much fun.
But it's cheap.
It is. It's one of the cheaper guns.
Mhm.
Like 1700, right? But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I just feel like they've changed it.
Is there some more unlearning from
A
CS:GO? It
little
sounds
bit.
like.
It seems like I haven't gone in and like gone up to a wall and like tested the spray pattern
Yeah.
yet.
It is a new gun, a new game. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the guns look great.
Oh, cool.
The
Yeah.
guns
All,
look really great.
all the updated graphics are cool.
The maps look clean.
I didn't realize Counter-Strike Global Offensive is like over 10 years old.
Yeah, they had their 10-year anniversary.
That kind of blew my mind. I was like, I remember when that one came out.
Yeah, it came out in 2012.
2012, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been like the dominant game for like 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy.
Yeah, for competitive shooting games, absolutely.
Tencent came out with Valorant, and they were like, "Oh no, we're losing market cap or market share."
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's similar enough. I still feel like that one was a little bit more of like stealing from the Overwatch players, but I see it because
kind of a combination.
it's a
of
combination.
Overwatch and-
Yeah,
that's a good point. It's a
my little brother, like his crowd, his posse, they were all on CS:GO was their go-to
Yeah.
thing. And it's like, yeah, they tried Valorant for a little bit, but they were all just like, nah, this is too much like Overwatch. No thanks.
I tried Valorant a couple times, and I was not. I mean, it was fine. I just felt like the guns weren't amazing in that.
That's what my little brother said. Is like, it seemed like they took a little bit too much of the gun skill out for like, oh, the cool special abilities that every character gets. Like it's a hero shooter is what I would call Overwatch.
For sure it is. For sure.
So whereas
And I just-
Counter-Strike's a tactical shooter.
Yeah. And I mean, I just feel like Valorant was like. There's some cool things with it, right? There's some cool stuff. But
Sure.
It just didn't feel as good as. I didn't like it as much as CS:GO.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
good game.
CS:GO.
It's worth trying.
I'm gonna pause real quick.
Yeah.
I really have to pee.
Oh, go for it. Yeah. Bathroom. I forgot last week to
No,
clean the
you're
bathroom.
good.
So
All right, we're back.
we're back. What?
We didn't have a pause.
I was here the whole time.
Whew.
So next topic, I can rapid fire some topics because I got a couple little things this week.
Okay.
I don't know, it might be interesting. 30 seconds on the clock. Disney Lorcana we talked about last week.
Yeah.
I can't find it in stores anywhere. I don't know if it was so popular or they didn't have enough product. Can't find it anywhere. And anywhere online, like Amazon, a starter deck is like $60. And I was like, this can't be MSRP. No way. They're advertising this game to kids. And a starter deck of like 60 cards for $60? No way. So maybe it's just an Arizona problem, but I went to like 4 game stores last week.
Were you looking for it?
Yeah, looking for Disney Lorcana. I was curious if I could get like 2 starter decks just to play against each other, then we could have a cool little like review compared to Magic, but I can't find them in stores. So again, I'm not quite in the Disney Lorcana sphere of news.
Yeah.
If people are like, it's sold out everywhere, or if this is just a localized issue, but more to come on that, I guess.
Interesting.
I'll keep looking, but
interesting because I'd be interested to try and play it once or twice.
I would, yeah.
Right, just as an experiment.
I watched another gameplay video. It looked pretty fun. Yeah. Again, so I was like, oh, this is.
I'm trying to convince my wife to get into it.
Yeah. Again, if I can find 2 little starter decks, you can borrow them and play them, see if you like it. So
interesting.
Yeah. So that'll be cool.
Maybe eventually we get to there eventually.
Yeah, this is only like their first print, their first set, the alpha, so to speak. So it's like I looked at some card prices and they do
what?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just like kind of like Magic. They do have alternate arts and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I think booster packs saw that like they do have some pretty expensive cards already. Like a good trading card game you should have. It keeps the secondary market healthy. So I'm like, this.
I'll bet you the reason that these cards are so hard to find is because people are like, oh, this is a new trading card game that has a massive amount of support behind it financially from the company.
And this is the alpha set.
This is the alpha set. And so everyone's like, I'm just buying this.
Just buy it. Hold on to it for 20 years.
Exactly. It's an alternative investment.
Yeah. If the game doesn't crash and burn, it's going to be worth a lot of money, actually.
I mean, yeah.
But it's Disney themed. Unless Disney crashes and burns. Could be. I don't know.
They've been not doing super well.
Yeah, that's fair. So that's that. More to come on that.
Fair enough.
Other random game related thing. Monster Hunter. It's one of my favorite series.
Sure.
Just this week, I saw advertisements for this like months ago, and then just this week, my wife was like, got an ad on TikTok. She's like, "You playing this new Monster Hunter game on your phone?" I was like, "It's finally out." There's a Monster Hunter game on your phone that's like Pokemon Go.
Oh, that's cool.
It's Monster Hunter Now, I think. Dude, it's a blast. It's so much fun. Like you're hunting monsters, just like if anyone from work ever watches this. I play a lot of Monster Hunter at work. Just like at my desk, I'm like, dude, there's a great Jagras right here at my desk. I gotta kill him. And so it has all the same monsters from the games that I know. And I really enjoy. So it's like, yeah, it's up to me. I must stop the infestation of Pukes at Intel. Pukes are hilarious. They just got these big bug eyes with like wings and a weird looking tail. Anyway, super fun game. Just because it's like Pokemon Go, but you're fighting monsters. I'm like, all right, they solved that niche really well. That's good.
You got super into Pokemon Go for a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
Weren't you and Lena doing that for like date night sometimes?
Yeah. When we were dating, I mean, we both kind of argue that's kind of how we like started dating was Pokemon Go. We were just playing a bunch of young adults in a church group. We're just going out every Wednesday night. Pokemon Go had these community raid nights where every Wednesday from like 6 to 7, they had a bunch of big bosses spawn on the map. And so you needed a bunch of people. So yeah, our church group, we would do that. Probably like upwards of like 10 of us sometimes.
Wow.
And there was a stretch from 6 to 7, you could hit like probably 7 of these raid bosses. Just certain parks and whatever in downtown. And so, so we do that every Wednesday. It was a lot of fun. And that conveniently, like, we became friends. And then eventually it was just like, how about we just become boyfriend, girlfriend? And then, so that's long story short, Pokemon Go.
That's cool.
On the day we decided to, like, be official, we hit the best friends level on Pokemon Go. So we're like, all right, it's meant to be.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I think that'll be compared to Pokemon Go, how big of a game do you think this will be?
I think it's gonna be less big.
Sure.
There's also Pro Oricon. There's less, at least right now. The game just released. There's less emphasis on at least just like walking. Pokemon Go seemed to be like, yeah, you gotta get out and walk and exercise. Like Monster Hunter, I can play from my house, and I see the map of the world, and you can see like, oh, there's a monster over there, but there's no incentive to walk. Really, there's no like, oh, you gotta walk 3 miles to do this thing or whatever. Nah, like you can catch monsters like with a Pokeball and save them for later to fight them later the day or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
There's random items just spread out all over the map. In Pokemon Go, you had to go to landmarks to get items. Whereas this one, you can just, they'll spawn every so often, just like, again, at your house or at work. So there's less incentive to be like walking around catching Pokemon.
Sure.
It's more like walk to a place to sit down, maybe fight some monsters, maybe save them for later when you get home. Like, so you don't need to go see things in your community. So I think it'll be smaller, but it is fun because a lot of the mechanics and the monsters are all the same from the big games. So there's a little bit of cross pollination. I think their current game, Monster Hunter Rise, on consoles, I think they just came out with their expansion or whatever. So there could be some pollination there of crossing the sales. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a fun game. It's worth picking up a little bit. My wife and I have been like 10 minutes before bed, like, oh, I caught some monsters today at work. Let's fight them. So it's been cool.
That is fun. Very fun. What else you got for me?
Yeah, my last rapid fire topic, a wide variety. The second presidential debate, Republican candidate presidential debate. I don't know how they say it. I like to call it the vice presidential candidate debate.
That's hilarious.
I hadn't heard anybody say that, so I'm going to claim that joke as my own.
That's a funny joke. That's really funny.
Especially in this one, the whole time, everybody, okay, at least like 2 or 3 of the candidates were just like, where's Donald Trump? Like, they were just the whole time, any chance they got, just like, yeah, and if Donald Trump was a real candidate, he'd be here tonight or whatever. It's like, guys, come on. No, maybe it's a little bit different because he's not an incumbent, but no, like, former president goes to these debates when there's 8 people up on stage.
No, for sure. Not.
No president does that. Like,
maybe when there's 3 or 4.
Yeah. When it gets trimmed down a little bit and it actually matters, I'm sure Donald Trump will go. But it's like, not even like because it's Donald Trump and his ego or whatever you want to say, orange man bad. Like, no former president goes to the primary debate when there's still 8 candidates. Like, it's a waste of time.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah. So it's like, if this debate was less fiery, honestly, so I did kind of tune out after like 2 hours, hour and a half. It's like,
You went through an hour and a half of that?
Yeah.
I can barely watch the highlight reels of those.
Again, it wasn't as exciting this time. But I do think a lot of them are making very good cases to be vice presidential candidates. So,
what's his bucket? Ramaswamy.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he wouldn't be vice president.
Yeah.
He says he's in it for the presidency or bust.
The presidency. I think regardless, there's a lot of people up on stage. If a Republican ends up winning, they'd probably all be good, at least cabinet members. Like, honestly, everybody up there seems okay. I have minor issues with, honestly, every political candidate because no political candidate represents, me 100% or the public really 100%. So you got to pick and choose, but they all at least seem decent. They whoever ends up winning can look to that for cabinet members. So,
Yeah, but do you want politicians as cabinet members or do you want smart people as cabinet members?
Also that, yeah.
It's like I don't want my chief of nuclear energy or whatever they call it to be freaking Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Nikki Haley or Chris Christie.
Yeah, that's why it's like
I'm gonna give Chris Christie a cabinetry spot. It's gonna be the cabinetry member of fast food.
Yeah, exactly. Agriculture?
Or like the most useless state in the nation. That was maybe a little bit too far, but just like the Rhino cabinet member or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like at this point, maybe I will wait till it gets trimmed down, just so you can see actually like reasonable candidates up there. I don't know.
Honestly, like in
The-
my opinion, they should probably just all drop out.
Yeah.
Stop wasting money.
Yeah, exactly. Presidential debates is like a time honored tradition, so I do try and watch them. I kind of respect it. Of like, all right, this is cool. We've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's neat, but yeah, when there's still 8 people up on stage, you're like, eh.
Honestly, though, like they should put those cutoffs way higher in today's day and age.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like social media,
I would agree.
where it's like I think you needed like 1% or something, like less than 1% to like
To even
join
get
the
on.
first debate.
Yeah,
And it's like, seriously,
come on.
like I know, like there are YouTubers who could get over like 5%
Yeah, exactly.
if they were like, I'm running for president, and I would be like, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Vote.
Shows up at the debate. He's got his own camera crew just to like make content. That would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of all of the presidential candidates, the two that I like the most are RFK Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah. He said some cool stuff actually.
and Vivek
Vivek Ramaswamy,
Ramaswamy.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other candidates kind of bashed him for like, you just use TikTok and we gotta ban TikTok, and it's like, guys, come on, like,
Well, he's not getting any votes because let's be honest, no one's banning TikTok.
no, yeah, exactly.
If you're the one who bans TikTok, you will not be elected again.
You won't. Yeah, sorry. I just think it's funny because it's like, respectfully, of the 8 people up on stage, 7 of them were extremely old, and they're all bashing Ramaswamy for being too young, and he's
They're
like,
not extremely old. They're
okay,
older.
6 of them are.
Well,
Nikki Haley still looks good.
yeah, Nikki Haley. I think she's in her 40s or 50s.
40s or 50s, yeah.
I think anything under 65 is still young enough to be president.
Yes, I would agree. But also, the Constitution says 35, and Ramaswamy's 38. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, Mike Pence made some bash about like, oh, well, back in 2000, you didn't even vote then, Ramaswamy. Ha ha ha. Like, I don't know if that's.
Good. Someone who didn't vote for a warmonger.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he made some bash like, I've been a career politician for my whole life. I'm like, I don't think that's a good thing to be advertising.
Yeah.
I say what you will, but I do think Ramaswamy resonates with the younger crowd. He's on TikTok.
Yeah, because he understands the younger crowd.
Yes, exactly.
He's not freaking Mitch McConnell turtling himself out all day.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, looks like we didn't get my dose of Adderall and methamphetamines correct today.
Yeah,
dude, that guy.
Exactly.
Freaking Dianne Feinstein just
passed
away
away
the news.
at 90.
At 90, she was a sitting member of Congress, or of the Senate.
Of the Senate.
At 90,
and
was voting on stuff. Did you know?
Wasn't she kind of brain dead for the past year? I thought she had.
But she voted the day she died. She cast a vote for something. I don't remember. Maybe it was the day before or something like that. But like,
we've talked about conspiracies before, but I don't know if I believe that she voted.
Well, and also she didn't have her own power of attorney anymore.
Yes, that's right. I heard
it's
that.
like the freak, man. Like, why are we letting people that are over? If you're over 80, F off.
Yeah, like
until the
retire. Go relax.
How about you enjoy your millions of dollars that you've made screwing the American people over anyway?
Like,
why is Nancy Pelosi has like $100 million?
Yep.
Like, why in the freaking world is she still like?
Why
does she care anymore?
Yeah, there's no way at that age you have the energy, the motivation. Maybe you think that if you retire, you'll just be bored.
It's like bored. They sleep for 17 hours a day.
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard that as a sentiment of older folks is like, oh, when I retire, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But it's like
get a hobby.
If you have that much money, pick any hobby you want.
Like you can do anything you want. Like literally anything.
Yeah.
Like go race cars.
You heard a midlife crisis? Have a late life crisis. Do whatever you want.
And now you have like the financial. It's not irresponsible for you to do that.
Yeah. I was thinking about it this week, just like a thought experiment in my head. It's like, oh, if I had to vote for a senator or whatever, it's like, and it was like because I vote Republican, but I'll just say a 90-year-old Republican / somebody who aligns with my political values or whatever, or like a 40-year-old Democrat, like who's the most fit for the position? I was thinking of like, would I just vote for the Democrat just cause?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like 'cause the 90-year-old kid is an invalid, basically. Like, yeah. So I was just thinking about that as
I mean, I even think it would like
the point of voting democracy by the people is the best candidate for the role.
yeah,
And if you're not even physically fit to walk up the steps of Congress, I mean,
or the steps of an airplane.
yes, just totally unrelated, but yes, definitely, yeah.
Well, but I even think that with like Trump. I mean, what he's gonna live for what, another 20 years max?
Yeah, he's 70 something, I
I think
think.
he's 80.
Oh, really? Last I heard was 78, I want to say, but I could be wrong on
We
that.
gotta fact check this because I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he's 82 now.
Really? We'll have our producer pull it up. Jamie, can you pull that up? Donald Trump.
Oh, you're right,
Age.
77.
77. Okay.
That's not too bad.
And he's relatively physically fit, actually, from everything I've seen. Everything they show on camera.
Yeah.
But you're right, like he's still getting up there in years, 20 years max.
I mean, I just feel like I want a presidential candidate who's going to be around for the consequences of their actions.
Yeah, that's actually another really good point.
And like 65 and younger, they probably will be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like,
I would agree. Yeah.
I'll vote for anyone 65 and younger, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Over that,
I was. I think we were kind of too young for this to be like relevant, but the last time, Senator McCain went up for re-election in Arizona, John McCain was like a huge name. He'd been our senator forever. I think his last election, my dad was like, you know what, kind of tired of John McCain. He's been in there forever. He's a little too old. And so it's like, I think that was like my first election, the first time I got to vote, and I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, wow, yeah, this guy's
was for his presidential candidate,
or for his next senator bid or whatever.
Gotcha.
I forget. But then he ended up passing away like a couple of years into that. True. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like,
but he had cancer though.
He did, yeah. But to your point of like, yeah, I want my senator to be making the best choices for the future for me. If he's not going to be around, is that going to affect his decision? Like,
especially in today's day and age, where like, because of how the system has evolved over time, and how we have like this technology, right?
Yeah.
Like one minor change affects everything.
Agreed.
Especially with international politics.
Yeah.
Because like what we do affects what the president does in like relations to the Middle East changes oil prices, which affect everyone.
Changes
so
everything.
much. You know, it's just anyway.
It's all
we're not a political podcast, but
no.
Hope for young people.
There's a convincing argument to be made,
and not stupid young people. I don't think 25-year-olds should be running the country.
No. That's why, like, respectfully, the founding fathers were like, all right, president's got to be 35 at least.
Yeah,
like,
and they were young guys too.
Yeah, they were all relatively young. Senators, I want to say, are like 30 or something, 32. I'd have to reread the Constitution.
Senators, I think, are also 35.
Representatives are a little.
Representatives, I think you can be 25.
25. That sounds right.
Yeah, it's something like that. Because I think senators, I think they have to be 35 because they are technically in the line for the presidency.
Oh, okay. If you end up
like
being
a bunch of other people die.
Yeah, and you end up being Senate Majority Leader or whatever, like you're.
Yeah, I can't remember because I think it's obviously Vice President,
Secretary of State.
Is Secretary of State in that list?
Huh? That's number 3.
Really?
Yeah. In a state government, Secretary of State's
number 2.
Generally number 2, actually. Yeah.
Oh.
So our Arizona governor just like mysteriously stepped down temporarily. I don't know if you heard that. This is like Arizona news.
What? But Katie Hobbs?
Yeah, Katie Hobbs like sent out a letter that she's just like temporarily stepping down without details. So our Secretary of State, Kimberly Yee, is now acting governor.
I have no clue who that is.
Yeah, she was a random Republican who won actually on a mostly Democratic ticket that won this last election.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Great. Have you been following? We're not a political podcast, but have you been following this Carrie Lake stuff?
Not a whole lot, like a little bit here and there. I've seen her on an interview or two
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
because
She's
she's fine.
she's a reasonably attractive human being.
Yeah, yeah. For like middle-aged woman, she looks pretty good.
She's reasonably attractive.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's not what I was gonna say.
okay, yeah, but you gotta acknowledge it. Now we can go on.
She's just been like doing all these lawsuits and whatnot about
Yeah, wasn't
the
there
election being stolen.
another
and
one
stuff
that
like
came up this week? I thought.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. It's like I'm kind of overhearing about it. I don't even know what I believe about it. Like, there's so many conflicting stories, and like,
Sure.
one side is convinced that it got like all of these elections got stolen, and the other side is like, of course they didn't. And there's like some evidence on one side, but then the other side's like, you're ridiculous. And I'm like, it does kind of sound ridiculous, but also at the same time, like, they have some reasonable evidence. But
Yeah,
it's like, first of all, do I even care?
yeah.
Like,
Not a political podcast, but I personally, I'd like to see more of her. I thought she was a good candidate. Like, she at least campaigned well because she'd been again, this is maybe Arizona local news. She'd been a news broadcaster for a while, and I remember seeing her on TV when I was
that's
younger.
true. Yeah.
She's charismatic. She carries herself
She's
well.
very charismatic. I think she's too Trumpy though.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Like she got a Trump endorsement when she was running for governor. So
Well, getting a Trump endorsement is fine, but like being like Trump,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it worked in 2016. So I've seen even
Yeah.
like I can kind of see that a little bit in even like Ramaswamy jumping back to president. He seems
That's
a little
true.
Trumpy sometimes.
That's true.
It resonated with the people in 2016. So
That's true.
anyway,
Politics are dumb.
yeah,
Well, politics is interesting.
it's interesting, but it's like,
Politicians are dumb.
in general, you dumb.
98% of politicians suck. That's my calculation.
I'm comfortable saying that.
Anyway, all right. We talk about some magic.
Yeah, let's do some magic.
So I have two things. One is that I know what my next build is going to be for a deck.
You got it all planned out. You got the commander picked.
I do have the commander picked.
Got the strategy.
It's pretty easy strategy. So
Big green.
I'm mono green.
Turn creatures sideways.
Turn creatures sideways.
I love it. That's the smooth brain talk for Magic the Gathering is just like attack. It's just a simple strategy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a Brunati Behemoth Caller. She's a 3-mana 1/3 legendary creature. She taps for 1 green mana
This is terrible
so far.
so far.
You know.
It's pretty bad.
Then this is where she gets pretty okay. Creatures, whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 5 or greater, that creature enters the battlefield with X additional 1/1 counters on it, where X is its mana value minus 4.
Yes.
So all your creatures above 5 mana come with 1/1 counters.
Yeah.
With at least 1/1
A
counter.
5 mana gets 1 counter.
Mm-hmm.
2,
But-
3, 4. Yeah.
X creatures, when you cast them, their mana value goes up by that X amount.
Yeah, whatever you
And
paid
so-
into it. Yeah.
If you cast, and let's say you were casting an X creature and you pay 10 mana for it, 10 plus whatever its little pip
Mhm.
is, right? It's like 11 mana. 11 minus 5 is 6. So you get an extra 6 counters on that thing. So that turns it from a 10/10 into a 16/16
It's good value.
right off the bat,
Yeah.
which is pretty okay. Not like the most amazing, but then this is the one part that I like, is that creatures you control with 3 or more 1/1 counters on them have haste.
Have haste. That is strong.
That's really strong.
In mono green, especially.
Yeah,
That's,
because like you get out big stompy green boy and then just swing
yeah.
instantly.
Turn him sideways.
I feel like that's a pretty okay strategy.
Yeah, and it's like having your commander is amazing, but then also the rest of your deck is just 1/1 counters. So your deck isn't entirely dependent on your commander, which
No.
is always a good thing to look at to consider. Some decks like your idea is like, yeah, I need my commander.
Sure.
Great. But I feel like it's always more resilient if it's like, yeah, the commander helps the strategy, but maybe some games you don't even cast them. Like you don't even find
Yeah,
a good
depending
time
on-
to.
Well, what's nice is that they're so cheap. They're like
Yeah.
early game 3 mana. Okay, I cast
Sure.
turn 2.
I'll
right?
throw them out, yeah.
Turn 2 or 3, cast your commander. Then, if they get board wiped, it's like, okay, now
Yeah.
it's 5 mana.
Ooh.
That's like most commanders are 5 mana. I feel
Yeah,
like.
and if you still like the effect, yeah, it still feels like it's worth 5 mana. Cool.
Well, and taps for 1 mana too.
Mhm.
So it's like
It's mana dork.
So,
It has a passive effect right away, which I always like to
Mhm.
see. It's just any other creature gets counters.
Mhm.
There's a lot of weak. I'll say weak. There's a lot of strong commanders, but if they don't do anything when you cast them, especially when that commander tax builds up, it's like 11 mana to cast my 5 mana commander. And then if it doesn't do anything right away, that's an 11 mana do nothing. Is a term we say in Magic. Like you have to wait until your upkeep for them to do something. Like
yeah,
that's tough.
we can. So that's my next deck.
Yeah, 1/1 counters
And so my
with
mana-
X creatures.
With a bunch of utility green creatures, mana dorks, and
mana
the like,
dorks.
and then a bunch of just big X creatures,
Just hydras generally.
hydras and tyrannids.
Tyranids, yes, lots of Tyranids.
Sporocysts going in.
Yeah, your favorite pet card.
It's not going to be a good card in this deck because it doesn't get doubled or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple. Actually, let me read. I found a couple hydras. I think I texted you guys about a couple.
There's
There's
some good hydras.
This guy's pretty great. Neverwinter Hydra.
Yep.
Have you heard of this guy?
I do. Yeah, because he's from the D&D set. Neverwinter.
Kind of cool. Kind of expensive. He's XX green.
Yeah.
So, as Neverwinter Hydra enters the battlefield, roll X D6.
D6s. Yeah.
It enters with a number of those. It enters with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the total of those results. It has Trample and Ward 4.
That's pretty good.
So, I mean, let's say you pay 10, so 12 mana total.
Mm-hmm.
So that X is 5. So you're going to roll 5d6. Like the average is 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're going to get 15 counters on him. Plus, if my commander's out, I get another 6 on top of that.
Oh, yeah,
So that's a 21/21 with haste and trample.
Haste, trample, Ward 4, you said?
Ward 4.
Ward 4 is really hard to kill. My 1 mana, like, Swords to Plowshares is 5 mana now? I'm not saving 5 mana to kill 1 creature.
Pretty okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Then the other one I found is a Lifeblood Hydra.
Oh, yeah, did you send this one? I forget.
I don't remember I sent this one. Anyway.
I've never done a Hydra deck, but...
I think it's going to be pretty sick. So it's an X and then 3 green pips.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Trample. Lifeblood Hydra enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Classic.
Yep.
And then when Lifeblood Hydra dies, you gain life and draw cards equal to its power.
And draw cards. Yeah, that's good.
Like, if it was just gain life, it'd be, like, mediocre.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the draw card, like...
That's true.
I mean, I pay 10 for it, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So I get 7 counters and 6 from my commander.
Yeah.
So it's a 15 or a 13/13. It dies, I gain 13 life and draw 13 cards.
Yeah, which is...
Plus it has trample.
Could be a problem, in theory, in a green deck, not having enough card draw. So you gotta, you'll find some good options for that.
I mean, I might just... I'm just going to... I mean, when it's cards like that, it's like I don't care if it dies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost beneficial if it
Like,
dies.
please kill it.
Yeah. It's like 13 cards.
I'd rather have that.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to put so much ramp in there.
Yeah, a
I'm gonna put
nasty
so much
amount of ramp.
Like, Sporocyst definitely going in because I just want... I mean, because, you want to get rid of your... Late game, you want to get rid of your lands, right?
Yeah. I'll get all the
And
lands
so
out
you're
of the
not
deck.
drawing a land card every turn, right? This can be a segue into our... excuse me. The next topic for Magic that I want to discuss was a couple episodes ago, maybe 5. We talked about our little deck building challenge that we were doing.
We had a fun challenge in our play group,
and it was a blast. And last night I've been thinking, and before I build this green deck, I want to get it was a Jund deck building challenge. So I really liked the commander with it, and the deck had some. I thought it had some good stuff behind it, And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fix that deck first, and then I'll really dial in my ninjutsu deck, and then I'll build my
do some upgrades now that you're not on a budget for our challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we played it on Thursday, 2 days ago. Yep. And it worked pretty well.
It did very well.
It worked like 3-player game. I felt like I was kind of winning the entire time.
The pieces fell into place. I was throwing like not all my resources, because I also threw them at the other player. But I was throwing most of my resources at you, and you were just recovering.
You did stop me going infinite 2 times.
Yes. Again, because I was throwing most everything I had at you. But your trick as a combo deck, I was thinking about this afterwards. I'm like, I had to split my resources still because that was the only way my deck was winning. You're a combo aristocrats deck,
Yeah.
so you could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And you would what's the word? Simultaneously, your resources were going to both of us.
Yeah.
So you were just like, yeah, I'm just over here drawing cards, killing stuff, draining your guys' life totals down, raising mine, and I'm like trying to deal with that, and also this over here. And
yeah, because you were swinging at me a bunch as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was taking, like, you were hitting me too because I was, you know.
Yeah, my final swing was like 30-something damage on my last turn, but
it only got me down to like 35 health.
30 damage and like 5 poison counters.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
because I was at 68 health. 68 health was the highest I got, which is pretty okay.
Yeah, because you were just aristocrats things that you had all the value pieces running.
Yep.
I had to blow up the same enchantment twice.
Because you blew it up once. Oh no, you
I shuffled it away.
And then I got my demonic tutor out because I had a freaking regrowth in my hand.
Yeah, we joked about it too.
We did.
Like,
What's funny is I had that in my hand from the start.
well, and I screwed up. I should have exiled the tutor earlier from your graveyard. I had that card in my hand. I was like, no, there's no way he has a regrowth to get the tutor back from his graveyard. I'll exile a different card. I'm like, nah, I should have exiled the tutor. Every game in hindsight is 2020, so that's
I was like pretty happy with the performance of the deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
$50 budget, and to be honest, let's be honest, I threw that deck together like 2 days, or I think the day of,
more or less. Yeah, I know you had me look at it. I think that day of. So,
and I mean, it performed like pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was clockwork. The pieces fell into place, and you were on
I was worried about my starting hand because my starting hand I had 4 mana in it. And 3 of them were bounce lands.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I was like worried that I was just going to get trampled at the start because
kind of a slow start.
And then I also didn't draw a creature until like my 3rd or 4th turn.
You might have lucked out because again, every game's 20. Hindsight's 2020. But we only had 3 players. The other player had a slow start. He was also kind of floundering. And my deck is a controlled deck, so I don't ever have a fast start. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely had some early game time to recover, which was nice. Because then 3 bounce lands by the end of the game was nice. Like,
oh yeah, I had plenty of mana.
You're like, 6 mana.
Yeah, I had plenty of mana, which I was really happy about because I did ramp quite a bit. Yeah. As well, which was nice.
Yeah, you felt like you were keeping up with me, and I felt like I ramped a ton in that game.
Yeah. I think I had a little bit less than you, but I had those bounce lands, and so they helped.
It was nice, yeah.
So I was very pleased with my deck. And I think there are some changes I'll make. Might try to throw in a couple other combo pieces in there a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, some more sacrifice outlets.
Yeah. Nice. That's where I think that deck needs like 1 or 2 more sacrifice outlets. Yeah. I got like a Goblin Bombardment. And a couple of creatures that do it, and a couple of enchantments. Like
sure.
What's the one I used the entire time? Ashnod's Altar.
Ashnod's Altar is a classic.
But, I want to put in some other just in case things, I like to have the redundancy. What's that enchantment that was gaining me life in card draw?
Moldavine Reclamation.
Yeah. Dude, that card put in work for me.
Dude, I was telling you when we were working on the deck, I'm like, this one, it's fallen out of popularity, but it's still a sleeper hit.
I think that card might be like, if I ever get my Diabolic Tutor in my hand, if I don't have that card, I might go search for
Diabolic Tutor is 4, Moldavine Reclamation's 5. I mean, it's pretty good on turn 4 or 5. Like, it's fallen off in popularity because people look at it, they're like, 5 mana enchantment. It's a 5 mana do nothing. Technically, right off the bat, but it's in that game, and it's generally every time I've seen a Moldavine Reclamation in the past, it's a good enchantment without being a magnet for removal. Yeah. Because it's anytime one of your creatures just dies, that can be token, non-token, you can sacrifice it, it dies to combat, whatever. Anytime one of your creatures dies, you gain a life and draw a card. Yep. It's a sleeper hit. It's so good. Yep. And again, in that game, it wasn't a removal magnet, but it probably was the thing that killed me in the end. When we got down to the 1v1 especially, like, I never had enough removal to also kill that. I always had to kill some other threat.
Well, and that really did win me the game because I drew I
Mhm.
drew into my win con.
I stopped you from going infinite twice, but you just kept drawing cards and kept gaining
Yeah.
life. And my only win con in that deck is getting your life total down, really. So,
Which you were doing really well. If I
Uh-huh.
had gained so much life, you would have won.
and I was drawing an okay amount of cards, but I don't think I was keeping up on resources with you, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the end of my last turn, I think I had like 13 cards in
13
hand.
cards in hand, yeah. I was
Or at the start of my last turn.
I was only ever sitting with like 2 or 3, but I was exiling a bunch of cards off the top of my library and casting those.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how my deck worked. But
Yeah.
I agree. I think you were still ahead of me.
Well,
on
and
cards.
you even took like my sorceries and instants because
Yes.
of your whatever you call
The
it.
Wand of Wonder.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like the fourth time you did that or third time or whatever. I was like flipping through my deck. I was like, geez, man, I don't know if I have another one. Like, what happens now?
Do I have any instants and sorceries
So
left?
if you don't have any instants or sorceries left, does that just like win you the game? Because you exile all those cards?
No, because that one shuffles them back into your library.
But only if you get an instant or sorcery.
No, I think it says it like it's usually like a period and then shuffle the rest back into the library. So
Okay.
it shouldn't, that one shouldn't kill you, I don't think. The Atali would kill you because his was like perma exile cards until you hit a non-land, and then I get to cast the non-land card. So if all you have left are lands, it'll exile your whole library.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that is very low.
Yes, exactly. But maybe if I had 7 Atalis, that's still pretty
It's
low.
true.
But yeah, but yeah, it was.
Yeah. The Atali is broken.
Tali's broken. I don't recommend playing him in webcam magic.
Especially if one of your opponents tries to copy him.
Yeah, that was a mess. I'll probably never play that deck again in webcam magic now that I know. I thought it would be fine. I forgot I had a Tali in there.
Yeah, and your Atali almost killed me. I had to make sure he didn't because of his poison.
The poison counters. Yep.
Yeah, because you swung it with him at me, and I had to block with one of my with my big guy.
Yeah, the big 7/7 or whatever.
Yeah, he was a 7/7. Yeah, that guy put in some decent value.
Yeah,
not amazing.
He shot me for like 7 when he died.
Yeah.
So. Moral of the story: budget decks can be good.
It can be very good.
Yeah, don't play down a deck, just because it doesn't have all these $100 cards in it. Like,
I was very pleased with it.
You had a concise strategy, and you stick with it. Like, my little brother, like 2 years ago, random related. When we did our Street Fighter budget decks, he just has a super simple Voltron deck. It's like Ryu from Street Fighter, so it's Hadouken. Our challenge for that one was $50, and he's like, I'm gonna win the achievement for the cheapest one. He built a $20 red and white Voltron aggro deck. So I think his commander is like the only creature in the deck. He just buffs up his commander because his thing is like, he has an untap ability, and his untap ability will deal damage equal to the commander's power to a target. If it deals excess damage, he gets to draw a card. So I love having draw a card on a commander.
Sure.
So then, he'll just like buff his commander up. So he's like a 12, whatever. He'll attack, deal 12 damage, and then he'll untap him and deal 12 damage to you again. Maybe draw a card if he blows up one of your creatures instead. Like, he was pretty strong. He'd put enchantments on it that would let him tap his creature to like deal damage equal to its power to any target.
Oh, that's genius.
And then pay mana to untap it and do it again. Like, it was a really strong deck for $20. Especially playing 1v1 with that. Like, I can't beat it.
Yeah, especially with one creature that's just like.
Yeah.
Although if you because it's your commander, you can't exile it or get rid of it.
Yeah, he'll always have that creature. So
it'll be expensive if it keeps getting blown up.
I think he starts at like 3 mana though. So.
Oh yeah, 3, 5, 7.
It's red white, so he's not doing much ramp, but still, like, it was a strong deck on a budget.
Yeah, I've been really wanting to do a Ryami First of the Fallen deck.
Voltron
deck.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Do sacrifice
the
Ryami deck.
Maybe we'll talk about it next week. They spoiled a random new one from the new Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's the same colors as that guy and seemed to be a similar theme. So we can.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe that'll get your creative juices flowing.
Very cool. Well, shall we?
Yeah, let's call it.
You got to get to your D&D session.
Off to dungeons.
Watch church.
Yes. Till next time.
Till next time.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the 5G podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
We're available on all social medias, as well as you can watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Again, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks.